Welcome back to Ben Leo tonight, only on GB News. Now, this morning I headed off to the North French coast in search of the British fishing vessel seized by French authorities in the English Channel. The Lady T, which was named after Margaret Thatcher, remains locked down in the port of Boulogne, but I did manage to find her after all, after a bit of a search, and see if I could speak to any of the French authorities. But it was a Sunday, but here's what happened. It's 11:30 here in France at the port of Boulogne, just down the road from Calais. We're on the hunt for the Lady T fishing vessel, which has been seized by the French. Nice to see a fellow Brit.
Yes.
Have you seen the Lady T fishing vessel?
No, I've not.
Loads of boats. Here, let's have a look. Is that it? Is that it in the distance there? Is that the Red Lady T? A humble fishing vessel from Eastbourne in East Sussex, nabbed by the French Navy, and now sitting stricken in the port of Boulogne in France. The French Navy accused of getting their priorities completely wrong. Thousands of migrants crossing the channel in small boats, in dinghies. Why aren't they stopping them? Instead, they're focusing their attention on, as I said, small, humble fishing vessels like the Lady T, named after, by the way, Margaret Thatcher. Some would say the lady is not for trawling. Certainly not today, if the French have anything to do with it. You can see it's not a massive super trawler dredging the seabed and making a massive economic dent into France's GDP. Nothing at all. The skipper is facing a fine of around 70,000 euros, which is around 60,000 pounds sterling. Can you imagine what that will do to his business? And as the relatively small Lady T sits stricken there, the skipper not allowed to work, facing a massive £70,000 fine, here we have a French trawler, the Notre Dame de Boulogne. This massive vessel can come to British waters, scoop up all our fish and head back to France, no problem. We need to speak to the French about this. We need to ask them why they're nabbing our small fishing vessels, even if they were fishing without a licence, even if they were, and instead not focusing their attention on stopping the small boats. Okay, it's a Sunday and apparently the French don't like working Sundays. Who does? So we are going to try the local police station. Come on out. Ben from...
No possible.
No filming?
No.
We're looking...
No.
Right, so the coppers have said that we need to go back to the port. He confirms that the skipper of the vessel is not in there. He's not in prison. So let's go on the hunt again for the Port Authority. Right, the helpful policemen have told us this is the Port Authority building here. Here we go. Is this the moment GB News reclaims the Lady T? Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, do you speak English?
Yeah.
I'm from GB News in England. My name is Ben Leo. We are here to get the Lady T vessel. You know the vessel the French seized?
Yeah.
What is the name of the boat?
Lady T.
Lady T, like the tea.
Yeah, like
Okay.
cup of tea.
Okay.
If you can stop a small fishing vessel, why can't you stop migrant boats,
Okay.
you know, in Calais?
I think nothing because I'm not. I don't know all the stories.
Not responsible.
No.
Got it.
Au revoir.
Okay, can we have the boat back? Take it back to England?
I'm not responsible of this. The port control is they are in charge of the boats, but.
Good morning. My name is Ben Leo from GB News television in England. We are here to speak with someone about Lady T. Can we have the boat back, please?
Yes, but for the Lady T, the Maritime Affairs is handling this case. Affairs, but we are Sunday, and the Maritime
Sunday.
Affairs is in front of the marina.
The French don't work Sundays.
I think not, sir, but...
Can I ask you, English people say, why did the French take a fishing vessel and at the same time the French Navy don't stop the migrant boats?
I don't have more information of this one, sir.
Oh well. Come on then. People are saying, why aren't the French focusing on stopping the dinghies from France instead of...
Because it's not their problem. It's not.
You think they don't care?
A few years ago, we went off. We came through in the car, and there was a French guy at the border in Calais, and he was chatting with this other guy, and the guy was saying, "Oh yeah, you got the Calais jungle and all this sort of stuff." And the guy turned around to him straight, and he said, "When Brexit kicks in, we may have the Calais jungle. You guys are going to have the Dover dump, and no matter what, people, you got your Farages of the world. How? How are you going to stop the boat?
I think they want to turn them back like Australia did.
You can't. It's maritime law. If somebody is at distress at sea, by law, you have to save them.
There we go. Unfortunately, nothing concrete because, as you discovered, the French don't like doing much on Sundays, apparently, and nobody was around. But we tried, at least. In tomorrow's Times, a breaking story to do with this. And by the way, this was a GB News exclusive. Mark White, our home and security editor, broke it exclusively a couple of days ago. It's now gained massive traction. In tomorrow's Times, a senior member of the French fishing industry has spoken out on the seizing of those 2 British boats, including Lady T. He says it was retaliation after a French boat was fined £40,000 for breaching UK maritime rules. So is this the start of an all-out war over our fishing waters? Let's get the thoughts of my panel now. They're back with me. Chloe Dobbs, Bill Ramble and Adam Brooks. And I'm joined now also by Royal Scoop Getter of the Man on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Chloe, what's your take? All-out war on the channel to do with fishing?
Well, I think that after we've had this EU reset deal, or the start of the talks on that deal, there's going to be a lot more tension in the channel between fishing boats and authorities and whatnot. You've got fishermen, some of them spoke to Mark White, who you've just mentioned, absolutely furious about the fact that the French authorities do nothing to stop the migrant boats, but are quite happy to take, pretty harsh action, a 70 grand fine on a British vessel. I think there's going to be a lot of tension.
Charlotte?
I've got to say, like you, Chloe, the first thing I thought is they're never going to stop the migrant boats if this is their attitude. If they're willing to stop a tiny little boat like the Lady T, it just shows that, I have to say, that kind of French tit-for-tat kind of attitude.
That boat was fishing without a licence. That is the fact of it.
Yeah, well, that's true, but I have to say it's so small. I mean, it seems like after the 40,000 fine, it seems like a retaliation.
Adam, it's a little family-run fishing boat, I think, from Eastbourne and East Sussex. I mean, compare it to the French trawler that was stationed next to it.
From the research I've done today, this seems to happen a lot on both sides, and now they've just upped the ante. So I think there's going to be a lot more of this, and I think Keir Starmer selling out our fishermen has probably just raised the stakes as well.
Yeah.
Oh, selling out our fishermen. He simply rolled over the deal that Boris Johnson agreed 4 years ago.
So why is the fishing industry absolutely furious, Bill?
Because they wanted a better deal, and often in negotiations you can't get a better deal. He didn't sell them out. He rolled over Boris Johnson's deal. But let's return to the substance of this case.
He extended it for 12 years. So it was just to clarify, it was going to expire in 6 months, which would have meant British fishermen had complete control and autonomy over everything.
No, it was always up for renewal debate within this set of negotiations.
Yes, but we didn't have to renew, did we?
No, but we had we gained a whole load of other benefits.
12 years.
We had a whole load of other benefits coming from the Brexit reset deal. But let's return to the substance of this. It's in nobody's interest to have tit-for-tat prosecutions taking place. Nevertheless, if you go into French territorial waters without a licence, you are asking to be prosecuted.
Okie dokie. Should we look at the front page of the Daily Telegraph quickly? The US State Department, of course. So we've got the Eye and the Independent. Let's take a look at the Eye front page, first of all. Sorry, it's been a long day. I've had about 10 coffees, but they don't seem to be working. The Eye headline reads, HS2 plunged into fresh chaos as major tax fraud claims emerge. And the Daily Telegraph, Donald Trump pressures PM over Lucy Connolly. We have discussed that briefly. Just on the right-hand side here, Keir Starmer's benefits U-turn will blow a £5 billion hole in the budget. So the Prime Minister risks blowing that massive deficit after backtracking on benefit cuts in the face of a backbench rebellion. The PM will cost the Treasury as much as £1.5 billion by bringing back winter fuel payments for most pensioners, while up to £3.5 billion more will be lost if he scraps the two-child benefit cap. Adam Brooks, what's your take on the two-child benefit cap? You've got 3 sprogs, haven't you?
Yes, I have. And I actually disagree with Nigel Farage back in this because I think, one, we haven't got the money to ride back on this, and 2, it sends the message that you can have kids and get more benefits that way. It was brought in for a reason, and that was to cap the amount of money that people could take as a family. We know, because of Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, that many families were having numerous kids just to get as much money from the benefit system as possible. This put a stop to that, and I'm pretty shocked. I don't always agree with everything Nigel says, but I think this is a wrong move from Reform.
The Zia Youssef tweeted today, and I think Nigel maybe commented, it's about the birth rate, the collapse in indigenous British people.
But this is about again, we talk about people gaming our system and the reason why people come from abroad to game our system. It's got so many holes in it. This is just going to open up another one.
Charlotte, what's your take on the benefit cap?
I actually totally
You
agree. And I've got 3 sprogs myself, but I have to agree. I think it's just going to open up another opportunity for people kind of to take advantage. I remember that Tony Blair era where people were having babies to get the benefits. It was kind of crazy.
Chloe?
I actually agree with Adam. I mean, first of all, where I'm from in Cornwall, area where it's pretty deprived and there's not really much aspiration, I go on social media and I look at the accounts of the people that I went to school with, and I see all of them, they left school when I did, and none of them have got jobs. They've all just been popping out babies, and they can keep on doing it because they get more and more benefits. Another thing is the same people who are concerned about rising immigration and Islam being on the rise, you know, I don't understand why they want the 2-child benefit cap to be scrapped, because, I mean, you know, Muslim families have way more children.
Well, I'd come back at that with the same argument. I'd say you can't sit here and say British people are being replaced by immigration, by families who are happy to have 5, 6, 7 children, and then at the same time say, well, I'm not going to have kids because I don't think the government should pay for it.
People are more likely to work.
Make a choice. Either you think you're being replaced or you're not.
No,
if you do something about it.
I think if you want the indigenous population here to have more children, I don't think that scrapping the 2-child benefit cap is the option. I think having lower house prices, for example, and the housing crisis has been exacerbated by really high immigration, for example. I think that is very much the solution. It's a complicated issue, but I don't think that scrapping that 2-child benefit cap is going to suddenly mean that Brits start having way more children.
But look, I often quote polling evidence on this programme. Actually, the polling evidence is overwhelmingly in favour of the 2 benefit cap. However, I think you actually have to say what you believe. And the problem with this debate is it's not the parents who suffer through the 2-child benefit cap, it's their kids. And we've got an increasing number of children going into poverty, and this is a means, if the government does restore it, of reducing the number of kids in poverty.
So why do we have to pay for people that are having kids that don't have jobs, Bill? Why?
We have a benefit system where people put in and they take out. And, you know, there's all sorts of reasons why people end up with more than 2 children. But for the benefit system to actually penalise them in this way, and it's not them, it's their children. They're the ones who are suffering.
Why not offer tax breaks for people that work and have more children? That would be more beneficial for this country.
I really think you should incentivise working families to have more kids. I'm really, among my friends, I'm one of a very rare example of people that have had 3 kids, because most people can't afford the childcare.
Hungary have got a great scheme. If you have 3 or 4 children, I think it's the mother gets a massive tax break, which is, I think it's a great idea.